Close your eyes. Imagine a single room, holding every secret the human mind had ever dared to dream. Not scrolls, not data, not links. Wisdom. Here, under vaulted ceilings kissed by Mediterranean light, walked astronomers who charted stars before Christ, poets who sang of love in tongues now dust, physicians who mapped veins with reed pens, philosophers who argued gods into silence, and back again. This was not a library. It was a living brain, synapses made of papyrus, thoughts bound in cedar. 1,000,000 minds, whispering across centuries in one sacred space. We called it the Library of Alexandria, but its true name, the memory of the world. And one night, someone decided the world should forget. It began not with piety, not with curiosity, with conquest. Alexander the Great dreamed of uniting East and West, not with swords, but with stories. When he died, his general Ptolemy inherited Egypt and his obsession. "Bring me every book," he commanded. Not just Greek, not just royal, every. Hebrew Psalms, Babylonian star charts, Indian medical texts, Ethiopian hymns. Ships docking in Alexandria were searched, not for gold, but for scrolls. If found, copied, returned. Originals kept. Scholars were paid royally, not to worship gods, but to question them, to measure the earth's curve, to calculate pi, to dissect cadavers when religion forbade it. For 300 years. This was the Google of antiquity, the Wikipedia written in ink and courage, a beacon in a world still learning how to think. The library didn't collect books, it collected the human soul. What made the library great wasn't its shelves, it was its silence. The sacred quiet where a woman could argue geometry with a king, where a slave-born scholar could correct a priest's star chart, where heresy wasn't punished, but published. Hypatia, philosopher, mathematician, astronomer, taught there in the 4th century. Wrapped in white linen, chalk in hand, she drew conic sections on slate, while bishops seethed outside. "Knowledge is not sin," she said. "Ignorance is." Eratosthenes calculated Earth's circumference within 1% of modern value using shadows and sticks. Herophilus dissected human bodies, discovering nerves, the brain's ventricles, the pulse's rhythm. This was not academia. This was revolution. Quiet. Relentless. Dangerous. The library didn't fear questions. It worshipped them. And that is why it had to burn. The first death came, wrapped in war, 48 BCE. Julius Caesar, cornered in Alexandria, set fire to enemy ships. Flames leapt docks, wind carried sparks. And then, the warehouses burned. With them, 40,000 scrolls. Gone. Accident? Perhaps. But ask yourself, when power feels threatened by thought, does it mourn lost books, or breathe easier? Caesar rebuilt nothing. Rome sent no condolences. Knowledge was collateral, and empires rarely apologize for collateral. Still, the library endured. Smaller, scarred, but breathing. Scholars salvaged what they could, wrote new treatises, whispered old truths. Fire doesn't kill ideas, only those who carry them, and the carriers were still alive. The final death came, not with flame, with silence. As Christianity rose, so did fear, not of lions, not of barbarians, of questions. What good is a god if geometry disproves his heavens? What use is faith if medicine heals without prayer? Bishops called scrolls demonic, Emperors banned pagan texts. Mob mentality replaced debate. Scholars fled, burned their own work to avoid persecution. Hypatia, dragged from her chariot, flayed with oyster shells, her skin scraped from bone by zealots who called themselves righteous. The library didn't fall to invaders. It fell to believers, to those who loved certainty more than truth. By 400 AD, the shelves stood empty. Not because knowledge vanished, because courage did. They say everything burned. They lie. In monastery cellars of Syria, monks hid Aristotle beneath psalters. In Baghdad's House of Wisdom, Arab scholars translated Euclid by candlelight. In Toledo's Scriptoria, Jewish scribes preserved Ptolemy's star maps in Hebrew letters. Knowledge didn't die. It went underground, became fugitive, became sacred, and centuries later, Europe rediscovered Greek thought and called it the Renaissance, never mentioning the Muslim translators, the Jewish copyists, the Coptic guardians. The library's greatest tragedy isn't that it burned, it's that we forgot. Who saved it? Truth has no nationality. Only custodians, and the best ones work in shadows. Today, we have a new library, vaster than Alexandria, faster than fire. You hold it in your hand. Every Wikipedia edit, every YouTube lecture, every open source code. It's all there, our collective memory, floating in silicon clouds. But ask yourself, who controls the servers? Who deletes inconvenient truths? Who algorithms decide what you see and what you forget? We lost Alexandria to flame. We're losing our digital library to distraction, to rage, to profit. Clickbait buries scholarship. Memes replace manuscripts. Deepfakes drown facts. The ancient librarians begged kings, preserve this, even if you don't understand it. What would they say? Seeing us scroll past genius to watch a cat sneeze? We didn't learn. We just upgraded the arson. They tried to erase it, again and again and again. But here's the secret the flames never knew. Libraries aren't buildings. They're people. Every time you read a forbidden book, every time you question a comfortable lie, every time you teach a child to wonder, not just obey, you rebuild the library, brick by brick, thought by thought, courage by courage. Hypatia's ghost walks with you. Eratosthenes measures your curiosity. The scribes of Baghdad smile when you share knowledge freely. The Library of Alexandria didn't burn. It scattered, became whispers, became sparks, became you. Tonight, before you sleep, open a book no algorithm recommended. Watch a lecture no influencer endorsed. Learn something useless, beautiful, dangerous. Hide it in your heart. Not for likes, not for grades. For the day someone tries to burn it again. The librarians of Alexandria didn't die for scrolls. They died so you could think for yourself. So think, read, question. And when the next fire comes, be the one who runs in, not out. The library is waiting, shelf by soul.